بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. أما بعد، يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we continue going over the tremendous book by the Fadilat al-Shaykh al-Allama al-Imam bin Baz rahimahullahu ta'ala. That tremendous book of his, which is entitled Durus Muhimma Li'amat al-Ummah, important lessons for the general masses of the Muslims. We are going over the explanation of this tremendous book, Sharh Durus Muhimma Li'amat al-Ummah, by the Fadilat al-Shaykh Sheikh Abdul Razak bin Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad al-Badr hafidhahumullah ta'ala. We are near the end of the first lesson, and that is a lesson that is going over Surah Al-Fatiha and then the chapters from Surah Al-Zalzala until Surah Al-Nas. Alhamdulillah, we have reached the tremendous surah, as all of the surah of the Qur'an, they are tremendous. We have reached Allah Ta'ala's statement, as Allah Ta'ala, He says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. We have reached Allah Ta'ala's statement as it comes in Surah Al-Ikhlas. And that is what translated means, and saying He is Allah, the One. Sheikh Abdul Razak, to the end of the surah, Sheikh Abdul Razak, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he begins and he says, هذه surah al-Ikhlas. That this is the surah entitled al-Ikhlas. نعم. تعدل ثلث القرآن. That this surah is equivalent to a third of the Qur'an. نعم. كما ثبت ذلك الحديث عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال: أن يعجز أحدكم أن يقرأ ثلث القرآن في ليلة؟ فشق ذلك عليهم وقالوا: أينا يطيق ذلك يا رسول الله؟ فقال صلى الله عليه وسلم: الله الواحد الصمد ثلث القرآن. حديث صحيح أخرجه البخاري عن أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله تعالى عنه، ومسلم عن أبي درداء. There comes a hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because this surah is a third of the Qur'an. This surah is a third of the Qur'an, as it has been established in that hadith on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, does any of you, or who is it who will be incapable of reciting a third of the Qur'an in the nighttime? And that was something that was problematic for them, those who have heard this. And it was difficult for them. And they said, O Messenger of Allah, which of us has the ability to do that? Or which of us has the ability to do that, O Messenger of Allah? To which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Allahul Wahid al-Samad, that Allah is the one and He is al-Samad, using this phrase to allude to Surah Al-Ikhlas. Because in Surah Al-Ikhlas we have what? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ Allahu Samad. And so this is the meaning. Allah is one, Allah is al-Samad. This is a third of the Qur'an. This is a third of the Qur'an. Naam. So this surah, this chapter is small in its size, but it's very, very tremendous in its meaning. وتسمى Surah Al-Ikhlas, and it has been named Surah Al-Ikhlas لأنها أخلصت لبيان التوحيد العلمي. And this is because it's called Surah Al-Ikhlas, because it goes over the Tawheed of knowledge, or the knowledge Tawheed. So thus it's been called Surah Al-Ikhlas, because it solely and deals with this particular topic. It solely deals with this particular topic, and that is the topic of Al-Tawheed Al-Ilmi. Al-Ilmi, the Tawheed that is knowledge based. So it purely speaks about that topic, right? As the translation of the name of this surah, as it comes inside of the Noble Qur'an, is the purity. The purity. Because it purely deals with this type of Tawheed. This type of Tawheed. You have another surah in the Qur'an that is also Surah Al-Ikhlas, because it deals with Tawheed from another aspect, another standpoint. And that is, as the Shaykh mentioned, Surah Al-Kafirun. Surah Al-Kafirun. أيضا تسمى Surah Al-Ikhlas. Surah Al-Kafirun is also called Surah Al-Ikhlas. It's also called Al-Ikhlas. Why? لأنها أخلصت لبيان التوحيد العملي. Because Surah Al-Kafirun purely explains the Tawheed of actions. The Tawheed of actions. Now, the implementation of the Tawheed practically. Actions. Acting in accordance to it, as they will say. Practically meaning the opposite of theoretically. So you can say the first is knowledge base, theoretical, knowledge base. Now, whereas the second type is action, implementing it, practically putting it into application. And it is important to know from the jargon of the ulama that some of the ulama, they mention from this standpoint, looking at it from this aspect, that Tawheed is naw'an. Tawheed is of two types. Two types. I don't want you to confuse the types with the categories. The categories is different. Okay? As we have the categories, and they are three. There is no fourth. The three categories of Tawheed. Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. The Tawheed of the Lordship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you have Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. The Tawheed of Ibadah. That all the Ibadah belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. All of the worship belongs unto Allah Azza wa Jal. And then you have the Tawheed of Al-Asma' wa Sifat. The Tawheed of the names and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the categories of Tawheed. Now, the categories of Tawheed. We're talking about now types. The types. You have Tawheed from the aspect of knowledge. Right? The aspect of knowledge. And then you have Tawheed from the aspect of implementing. Acting according to. Okay? Implementing the Tawheed. And this is what is intended here by the Tawheed that is ilmi. And then you have the Tawheed that is amali. That makes sense? على كل حال, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in His first ayah, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Say, O Muhammad, say unto them, O Muhammad, that He is Allah, the One. He is Allah, the One. Mutafarridun. Allah Ta'ala, He is one, He is alone. La nidda lahu. He has no partners. La fi asma'ihi wa sifatihi wa la fi rububiyyatihi wa la fi uluhiyyatihi jalla wa ala. Allah Ta'ala, He has no partners. He has no partners in His names and His attributes. Allah Ta'ala, He has no rivals. He has no equals to Him in His names, nor in His attributes, nor in His lordship, nor in His worship. That Allah Ta'ala, He is the only one who is worshipped in truth. When we look and we examine this sentence, what do we see? What do we see here in this sentence? That Allah Ta'ala, He has no rivals in His, one, names and attributes. Two, in His lordship. Three, in His ibadah. What do we see here? Na'am, ahsant. We see the categories of Tawheed. Na'am, Allah Ta'ala, He has no rivals. And this is the meaning of this ayah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is one. He is alone. He has no rivals. He has no rivals. Jalla wa ala. Na'am. The next ayah, and this here is always a good illustration to show you the need of learning the Arabic language and how translations, even at their best, will always be lacking in one way or another. Right? In one way or another. Is that the next ayah, it says, Allahu Samad. That Allah, He is Al-Samad. Na'am. And Al-Samad is a word that is not easily translated. Okay? It's a word that is not easily translated because there is really no one word you can bring to express, at least in English, the meaning of this one word in Arabic. So you find inside of the noble Qur'an, it mentions the transliteration of the ayah. Now, those who have the noble Qur'an, you will see it mentions the transliteration of the ayah. Just how the Arabic language, the word sound, they wrote it out in English, using English letters. Which here is an indication to show you what? That this one ayah is very rich in meaning. It's very rich in meaning. As all of the ayat are very rich in meaning, but very rich in meaning in the sense that it's hard to bring the English in a manner that will be reader friendly for this ayah. But with that, they tried getting the best and they brought the meat of the meaning. So they have in parentheses here that Allah, the self-sufficient master, whom all creatures need, he neither eats nor drinks. He either eats nor drinks. This is what they bring for the meaning. Shaykh Abdul Razak, he mentions, he says, As-Samad, to give us some more understanding, some more aspects to the understanding of what the word Samad means. Now, I want you to reflect again that the noble Qur'an is to date, the best translation, arguably, of the interpreted meaning of the Qur'an. Now, the best translation that we have access to. Right? Listen to the definition. Or listen to the translation as they bring for the ayah, the meaning of it. Allah, the self-sufficient master, whom all creatures need, he neither eats nor drinks. Again, Allah, the self-sufficient master, whom all creatures need, he neither eats nor drinks. Which is good, and I'm telling you, is the meat of the meaning. But there's more to it than that. Listen to what Shaykh Abdul Razak, he mentions, and mind you, this too is a summarized tafsir. Shaykh Abdul Razak, hafidhahullah ta'ala, it was not his intention to go into a long and in-depth tafsir. It's a summarized tafsir. So I also want you to keep this in mind as well. But with that, he adds on to what we see here in the translation, and he mentions, he says, Al-Samad Al-Kamil fi asma'ihi wa sifatih. That Allah Ta'ala, the one who is Al-Samad, he is complete, he is perfect in his names, in his attributes. Right? Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, he has no rivals. None. Because only Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is perfect and complete in his names and his attributes. Right? So that particular meaning, do we find it in the translation? No. So this shows you the need for us to what? To learn Arabic. To get rid of the English crutch, right? And learn Arabic. It would enhance us. But also, al-kamil fi nu'uti. Na'am. Wa shu'dudid. Also, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sudidi. Na'am. That Allah ta'ala, he is complete in his nobility. That Allah Ta'ala is complete in his nobility, and he is complete inside of his attributes. And his attributes, for lack of a better term. Na'am. Also, what enters into As-Samad, الذي تصمد إليه الخلائق وتفزع في حاجاتها. That Allah Ta'ala, he is the one who all of the creation turn unto him with their needs and the like. All of the creation, they have to turn unto Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala with their needs. Because Allah Jalla wa Ala, he is the one and the only one who is rich. He doesn't need anything, but everything needs him. Man, this too enters into the meaning of Samad. فَفِيهِ, so thus, inside of this one word, دلالة على غنى الله, على غنى الله عن جميع المخلوقات. And in this ayah is a pure indication which points to the richness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is self-sufficient, and that He doesn't need anything from His creation. Allah is self-sufficient, He is rich, He doesn't need anything from His creation. Why? لِكَمَالِهِ فِي جَمِيعِ صِفَاتِهِ. And this is due to Allah's perfection in all of His names and attributes. He is so perfect in all of His names and attributes, He doesn't need anything from anyone. Also it points to وَعَلَى كَمَالِ قُدْرَتِهِ. And also it points to the completeness, it points to the perfection of the power, might, and ability of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is perfect in His power, His might, and His ability. It is complete. All of this is understood from that one word of Samad. Now, it also points to وَافْتِقَارِ الْمَخْلُوقَاتِ كُلِّهَا إِلَى اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. It also points to the fact that all of the creation, it is poor, impoverished, in extreme, acute, and vital need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That all of the creation needs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Na'am. Also, we understand from it وَأَنَّهَا, that verily the creation تَصْمُدُ إِلَيْهِ تَفْزَعُ إِلَيْهِ فِي كُلِّ حَاجَاتِهَا, is that all of the creation, due to their poverty, due to them being impoverished, due to their extreme need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thus they turn into Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for their needs, for all of their needs. Because all of their needs, everything they need, want, hope for, and desire is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا غِنَى لَهَا عَنْهُ. And that the creation, they can never be independent and self-sufficient away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not even for طرفة العين, not even for طرفة العين, not even for the blink of an eye. Not even for the blink of an eye can the creation be self-sufficient from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nah, it's not possible. But yeah, all of this enters into what is meant and the meaning of Samad. Nah. So again, when you see the richness of the meaning that is contained inside of this one word, then you understand what that, to put all of that, it'll be very problematic. So now you see the translator's dilemma. When it comes down to this ayah, is you have this vastness, richness of meaning, what do you do with it? Right? So, and he did a good job. Alhamdulillah, he did a good job in it to make it reader friendly. But you realize that's just the meat, you can say it for lack of a better term, of the translation. But there's more to it. There's more to it. There's more to it. So again, this is just an encouragement for myself and for everyone. That we have to learn Arabic. We have to learn Arabic. And we shouldn't delay or sleep on this, because our days here, they are numbered. Every day goes, that's a day closer to our death. So like they say, there's no time like the present, right? There's no time like the present. So let us start now. It's fine, and continue with that until Allah wills. But here, woman, the Shaykh goes on and he says, woman أحديته ومن أحديته وصمديته وكماله سبحانه أنه لم يلد ولم يولد. So we look at the first two verses, right? That say He is Allah, the One. He is Allah, the One. Allah is alone. He has no rivals. In His names, His attributes, His lordship, nor his ibadah, nor his worship, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who is self-sufficient. He provides for all, yet needs no provisions. All of creation is impoverished unto Him and turned to Him for their every need, and so on and so forth. He is complete in all of His names and His attributes. He is complete in His power, His ability, His might, so on and so forth. Now, but when one reflects upon these first two ayat, then the third, it becomes very clear that due to Allah Ta'ala's oneness and due to Allah Ta'ala's self-sufficient and being self-sufficient, that Allah Azza wa Jal, He is in no need of parents nor of children. Right? He's in no need of children nor parents. So therefore, Allah Ta'ala, He says in the third ayah, لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ, that He begets not, nor was He begotten. He doesn't have children, nor does He have parents, to put it another way. The ulama, they explain that the reason from the wisdoms, we should say, from the wisdoms, that Lam Yalid came first, He does not have children, is because most of the polytheists and the kuffar, they attribute that Allah has children. The vast majority of the polytheists and the kuffar, they say that Allah has children. And there are a lesser number of kuffar that say that Allah has parents. Right? Those kuffar who say that Allah has parents, they are less and fewer than those who say He has children. So therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the wisdom, the ulama they mention, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started by negating the fact that He has children. Because most of the people who deviate inside of this affair, they attribute unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala children. And this is why that came first, that He has no children, nor does He have parents. Shaykh Abdul Razak, he says, Nafyun li-awsul wal-far'a, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has negated that there is an origin for Him that is outside of Himself, and He has negated that there are things that will come and emanate and branch off from Him. So Allah Ta'ala, He has negated that He has parents, and He has negated that He has children. Na'am. And this is in glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and freeing Him from the likes of these things which have been attributed unto Him, Jalla wa ala. That Allah Ta'ala is beyond, His greatness is beyond needing children nor parents. He is too great for that. Ma'am. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He ends off this tremendous surah by saying, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٍ, and there is no one who is co-equal or comparable unto Him. There is no one that is co-equal or comparable unto Him. That there is nothing that is like Him. لَا مِثَالَ لَهُ, there is nothing like Him. وَلَا نِدَّ لَهُ, وَلَا نِدَّ لَهُ, and there is no partner for Him. وَلَا سَمِيَّ لَهُ, and there is nothing that carries His name. There's nothing that carries His name. Even can carry the name of Allah Azza wa Jal. نعم. تنزه عن المثال والند والنظير. Allah Ta'ala, He is freed. He freed Himself from any type of likeness, from that something is like Him. Allah Ta'ala freed Himself from any type of partner or that He has any rival. Now, there is nothing like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is nothing that is like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala follows up the surah with another tremendous surah. Allah Ta'ala, He says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. Allah Ta'ala, He follows up this chapter by another chapter. Chapter Al-Falaq, the daybreak. Surah Al-Falaq. Allah Ta'ala in the first ayah, He says, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. He says, say, I seek refuge with the Lord of Al-Falaq. طيب, ما معنى الفلق? What is the meaning of Al-Falaq? The ulama, they mention, the Shaykh Abdul he says, Al-Falaq, Al-Subh. That falaq, here, it means the daytime. أعوذ بالله فالق الإصباح. That I seek refuge in Allah, the one who separates the dawn. Right? Separates the dawn. Bringing out the dawn from where? From the night. And in this is tremendous because it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that brings day and brings night. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that brings day and that brings night. Also, it has been said, وَقِيلَ أَيْضًا, it also has been said, فَالِقِ النَّوَى, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who He splits the seed. The one who splits the seed and then the sprout comes from the seed. That this is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who does this. And this is the haqq. It is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who does this. Now, this here is a good example, as the ulama tafsir they mentioned. Whenever you find al-ikhtilaf, a difference of opinion as relates to tafsir, as amongst the Salaf, the vast majority of the times is ikhtilaf tanawwu'. It's an ikhtilaf where all of the statements are correct. Now, it's an ikhtilaf where all of the statements are correct. As we find here in this particular ayah. That al-falaq being the daytime, or the dawn, the dawn, that Allah is the one who separates and brings the dawn, and that Allah Ta'ala is the one who separates and splits the seed and brings forth the sprout. There is nothing contradicting both of these meanings from coexisting. There is no contradiction in them coexisting. So you find that it means what? Both. It means both. Naam. It means both. But by the Shaykh saying, وَقِيلَ, and it has been said, أيضًا, also it has been said, then this tells you that there are a less number of ulama who say the second. That is the splitting of the seed. There's a less number of ulama that say the second, and that the majority say it's referring to the dawn. Okay? The majority say it's referring to the dawn. Right? And that's clear, because they translate it as the daybreak. And they don't translate it as the severing of the seed or it's alike. Okay? But in any event, both meanings are correct. Allah Ta'ala, the next ayah He says, مِن شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ, from the evil of what is created. Naam. From the evil of what He has created. Naam. أي مِن شَرِّ كُلِّ مَخْلُوقٍ فِيهِ شَرٌّ. It's very important because you look at the construction of the ayah. Naam. مِن شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ, from the evil of what He created. So this is what? General. The Shaykh he mentions, هَذَا عَام. This is general. The wording of the ayah gives us the indication that it's general. Meaning, seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from every created thing that has in it evil. That dua is tremendous, That's tremendous. To ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from the evil of everything that has any evil. Right? Protect you from the evil of every created thing that has any evil. And the Shaykh he says, هذا عام في التعوذ من كل مخلوقات التي قامت فيها شرور. That this is general, seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from every created thing that has in it evil. From every created thing that has inside of it evil. Now, this is tremendous, Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ, and from the evil, and from the evil, and from the evil of the darkness. When it comes, and from the evil of the darkness when that darkness spreads, when that darkness comes. What is meant by the darkness here? Al-layl, from the evil of things that happen at nighttime, right? وَمَا يَكُونُ فِيهِ مِنْ هَوَامٍ, and that those evil things that come out at night from the nocturnal insects. You know, those nocturnal insects that are bothersome for people at night. They're not in the daytime, they only come out at nighttime. Right? وَمَا يَنْبَعِثُ فِيهِ مِنْ شَيَاطِينَ, and from those shayateen that disperse and go out outside of the nighttime. Right? And from those shayateen that disperse and go out in the nighttime. As we know, there are dangers inside of the night that are not in the day. There's certain dangers that we see at night that we're not faced with inside of the day. Now, وَمَا يَتَحَرَّكُ فِيهِ مِنْ شُرُورٍ, and what evil goes on at night. People are more given to doing evil acts when? At night, when it's dark, and they feel they can't be seen, and so on and so forth. So we're seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of the nighttime and that which happens at night. وَمِنْ شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ, and from the evil of those who blow upon the knots. سواحر اللاتي ينفذن في العقد. نعم. حتى يتمكن السحر ويقع ولا يقع إلا بإذن الله عز وجل. And asking and seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of those sorcerers who blow upon the knots until their magic comes about and takes effect and it strikes. And know that it will only take effect by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَتَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ مِنْهُنْ. And this is important, seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from those who do magic, from those sorcerers who do magic. Seeking refuge in Allah ta'ala from them is a proof and an evidence. Dalilun is an indication. على أن السحر له حقيقة وله تأثير. That magic has a reality, it's real, and it has an effect. It has effect and it's real. Now, because if it didn't have an effect and if it wasn't real, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't tell us to seek refuge in Him from it. Now, so the mere fact that Allah ta'ala is commanding us and teaching us and directing us to seek refuge in Him from those who do magic is an indication that magic is real and it has an effect. From the effects of magic, as the Shaykh mentions, وَمِنْهُ مَا يَقْتُلُ, from magic is that which can kill someone. Is that which can kill someone. وَمِنْهُ مَا يُمْرِضُ, is that which can make someone sick. وَمَا يُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ, and from it is that which will cause separation between a man and his wife, will cause divorce, will cause the wife and the husband to get divorced because of what? Magic. أَعَاذَنَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ وَحَمَانَا أَجْمَعِينَ. May Allah explain, and we seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from this, and may Allah ta'ala protect us from all of this. عَلَى كُلِّ حَالٍ, when one sees, the likes, and understands the meaning of this particular ayah, and all of these ayat, up until this point, and the last ayah, then they will understand what? They will understand the importance of constantly reciting the surah, and using it to seek refuge from the likes of these things. To seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the likes of these things. Now, Allah Ta'ala says in the last ayah, وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ, and from the evil of the envier when he envies. And from the evil of the envier when he envies, when he's envious. أي من شر كل حاسد إذا تحرك فيه الحسد, from the evil of every envier when he is moved to envy. When he is moved to envy. This here, ya subhanallah, to show you how evil the envier is, and hasad khuluqun dhamim. Hasad is a very lowly trait and characteristic. وهو تمني زوال نعمة الله على غير, and it is to desire that Allah's bounty on someone be removed. This is hasad. A person envious, meaning that they desire that Allah's bounty upon someone is removed, that they lose the bounty, right? Also, and it's a very important point as well, as mentioned by Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. He says, وَالْحَسَدْ كِرَاهَ مَا أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ بِهِ عَلَى غَيْرِ. He said, and hasad is to hate, is to have hatred, and to dislike that what Allah has given to someone else, what Allah has blessed someone else with. This is hasad. That a person who has hasad, the envier, he has a problem with the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah ta'ala has blessed this one with that and so on and so forth. He doesn't like that. Shaykh Uthaymeen, he says, فَأَوَّلْ مَشْهُورَ عِنْدَ الْأَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ. He said the first understanding of what is hasad, it is well known with the people of knowledge, and that is to desire that a person may lose Allah's bounty, desire that someone else may lose Allah's bounty. He said the second one was mentioned by Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. The second one was mentioned by Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Then he goes on to mention, he says, but the reality is that it means both. It means both. Is that they want the person to lose the bounty, and they are angry that Allah Ta'ala has given this person these things. And also what enters into that, what enters into a person who has hasad and a person who is an envier, يَدْخُلُ فِي ذَلِكَ الْعَائِنِ, is that the one who gives evil eye to people also enters into this. Because the evil eye only comes from hasad. As the Shaykh he mentions, he says, لِأَنَّ الْعَيْنِ لَا تَكُونُ إِلَّا عَنْ حَسَدٍ. Because the evil eye comes from hasad, someone being envious. Someone being envious. Na'am. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He goes on to say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, I seek refuge with the Lord of mankind, the King of mankind, and the Ilah of mankind. This is the final chapter of the Qur'an. In this, an individual, he is seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. هذا تعوذ بالله عز وجل بالذكر. This is seeking refuge in Allah by mentioning Allah's rububiyyah, His lordship, by mentioning His uluhiyyah, His sovereignty, or by mentioning His ibadah, that the ibadah belongs to Allah Ta'ala, and by mentioning His mulki, and by mentioning His sovereignty. So by mentioning the rububiyyatihi wa uluhiyyatihi wa mulki. Now, Allah's lordship, that all the ibadah belongs to Him, and mentioning His sovereignty. Now, هذه أسماء ثلاثة, these three names, رب الناس, ملك الناس, إله الناس, the Lord of mankind, the King of mankind, the only one who was worshipped in truth by mankind, مرت معنا في فاتحة الكتاب. This meaning came in the beginning of the book. Now, because here we find where? What do we find in these three ayat? We find the three categories of Tawheed. Allah is the Lord. Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. Now, Malikin Nas. Allah is the King. This is an indication of what? The Tawheed of the names and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that Allah is the only one that is worshipped in truth. This is the Tawheed of what? The Tawheed of the Ibadah. Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. So the Qur'an, it begins in Surah Al-Fatiha. As we went over Surah Al-Fatiha, remember we mentioned that you find the three categories of Tawheed mentioned where? In Surah Al-Fatiha, in the beginning of the Qur'an. And then now you have here at the end of the Qur'an, it ends off by mentioning what? The three categories of Tawheed, and everything between them is Tawheed, because the Qur'an is what? Kitab al-Tawheed. Naam. Fine. The Shaykh, he says, حيث وردت في مقام الثناء على الله عز وجل وفي خاتمة الكتاب وردت الاستعاذة به سبحانه وتعالى واعتصاما به جل وعلا. In the Fatiha al-Kitab, نعم, we find the same meanings of Tawheed mentioned therein. The Shaykh, he says, from the standpoint of praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, praising Allah Azza wa Jal. And then at the end of the book, Allah Azza wa Jal, He brings and that we seek refuge in Him, and that we for lack of a better term, that we seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That we seek refuge in Allah Jalla wa Ala. Naam. طيب. طيب, على كل حال, so we seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we seek the protection of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Allah ta'ala, He goes on to say, وَمِنْ شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ, and from the evil, and seeking refuge in Allah ta'ala, from the evil of the al-waswas, from the evil of the whisperer. And the whisperer, who is shaytan. It is shaytan. And the shaytan, he is a whisperer, and he is khannas. ذكر بهذين وصفين. He's been mentioned with these two descriptions, that he is waswas, he is a whisperer, الذي يلقي الوسواس في الصدور. He is the one who whispers inside the breasts of men. Naam, he's a whisperer. And he is al-khannas. What is khannas? What does that mean? أي الذي إذا ذكر الله خنس وانطرد وابتعد عن الإنسان. The shaytan, he is as such that when Allah is mentioned, he runs away from a person, he flees away from him, he runs away from him, and he gets out of there. Okay? This is the shaytan. When we reflect upon this, we know the danger of shaytan. We know that shaytan is our enemy. We know that shaytan is trying to destroy us. We need weapons against the shaytan. The remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes the shaytan run away from us. When a person understands this, then they will see billahi ta'ala the importance of reciting the Qur'an. And in particular, reciting the likes of these verses and these chapters. Now, the ulama, they have a saying which comes in this bab, and it says, إِذَا تَغَوَّلَتِ الْغِلَانِ فبادروا بالآذان. When بالآذان, that when you feel like the shayateen are going to overcome you, then hasten to call the adhan. Then hasten to call the adhan. And this is a saying from the ulama, and it's not a hadith. It's not a hadith from what I know. It is just a saying, a well-known saying that has a true meaning. But the daleel for this, because a person says, well, how do we know the daleel of the shaytan run away with the adhan and so on and so forth? The daleel of this is a hadith that comes from the hadith of Abi Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, فيما رواه مسلم في صحيحه, and that which is collected by Muslim inside of his collection of authentic hadith, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, إذا نودي بالأذان, he said, when the adhan is called, أدبر الشيطان له ضراب حتى لا يسمع الأذان. It says that when the adhan is called, the shaitan, he runs away. He runs away because the adhan is being called. He runs away from it, and to show you how disgusting and despicable the shaitan he is, he runs away from it, passing gas loudly so that he doesn't hear it. He runs away from it, flatulating loudly, passing gas, passing wind, loudly, so that he doesn't hear the adhan. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. Ala kulli hal, the takeaway is that the adhan make the shaitan run away. You want to get rid of him? Call the adhan, he run away. And this is all the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why Allah ta'ala, He described the shaitan as being al-khannas. Al-khannas, that's the one who, when Allah is mentioned, they run away. When Allah is mentioned, they run away. Na'am. وفي هذا الحث على المحافظة على ذكر الله. And in this there is an encouragement for us to increase with the dhikr of Allah. Because the more we make dhikr of Allah, the shaitan, he's away from us. When we forget, shaitan, he come. When we remember, he go. We forget, he come. We remember, he go. It's like this. Because he is al-khannas. And also, the dhikr, وَأَنَّ ذَلِكَ أَعْظَمُ وَيَقِلْ لَلْعَبْدِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ, is that the dhikr is from the best protection that a person he can have from the shaitan, is that he remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala, He goes on to say the next ayah, الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. The one, the shaitan, this one, الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ, the one who whispers in the breasts of men. He whispers into the hearts of men. نعم. أي يلقي وسواس والشرور في صدور الناس, that the shaitan, he puts whispers and evil into the breast of men, من الأفكار الردية, from despicable and lowly thoughts, والعقائد الفاسدة, and from despicable and nasty and heinous beliefs, والمعاني الخبيثة, and from lowly and lewd things and meanings. The shaitan, he whispers this to the people. The shaitan, he whispers this to the breast of the people. Also in this, and we don't want to get too deep into it, but we know that the aql, that the intellect, the correct understanding of the intellect, is that the intellect is inside of the heart. Intellect is inside of the heart. And this ayah alludes to that. Because the shaitan, he whispers into where? The breast of men, to give them these bad ideas, these bad thoughts, these despicable things, and so on and so forth. He whispers that way into the breast of men. It doesn't say, fi ru'us an-nas. It doesn't say in the heads of people. But it says, fi sudur, in the chest. Because what does the chest house? The heart, the qalb. So the aql is in the qalb, is in the heart. But again, we don't want to get too deep into that. But that's the reality as it comes to this situation. Ala kulli hal, Allah Ta'ala, He ends the ayah by saying, min al-jinnati wal nas, from the jinn and human beings. Al-waswas kama yakunu min al-jinn, because the whisperer, just like it can be from the jinn, yakunu min al-ins aydan, is also from human beings. Na'am, the shaytan, those shayateen, they are of jinn and human beings. You have human beings that are shayateen. You have, just like the jinn whisper things into people, get them bad thoughts, bad ideas, call them to bad things. Likewise, you have human beings who give people bad ideas, try to get them to do bad things, encourage them with evil, so on and so forth. Now you have human beings that fit this bill as well. So in this, we're seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the shayateen, from the jinn, and from where? From the human beings. As Shaykh, he ends off this first lesson by saying, al-hasil, yani the conclusion, the takeaway. What we want to take away, he says, أن المسلم مطلوب منه أن يعنى بفهم معاني كلام الله. Is that the Muslim, it is required from them that they have a concern to understand the meanings of Allah's speech. The meanings of Allah's speech. نعم. ويكفي العوام, and for the everyday Muslim, for the everyday common Muslim, it is enough for him أن يحفظ هذه السور, is that he memorizes these chapters. Meaning Surah Al-Fatiha, right? Then Surah Al-Zalzala, all the way until Nas. That they memorize these chapters. And that ويعنوا بمراجعة معانيها ومعرفة دلالتها, and that they constantly go over and they review the meanings of these chapters. They memorize them, yes. And you have to do muraji'ah of what you memorize. You have to review what you memorize. You have to review it constantly. Also, in addition to reviewing what they memorize from the words, but they also do review of the meanings. The meanings and what those ayat point to. The meanings and what those ayat point to. حتى تكون تلاوته لها في كل مرة عن فهم وتدبر. So that they go over the meaning so much and to such an extent that every time they recite these verses, they recite these chapters, they understand the meaning. They recite them upon understanding, reflection, and contemplation. Now, upon understanding, reflection, and contemplation, وَعَقْلٍ بِالْخِطَابِ, and having an understanding of what is being recited, and having an understanding of what is being recited, so that every time they recite these chapters, they understand full the meanings and they reflect upon them. So it's a recital of reflection, understanding, contemplation, so on and so forth. Na'am. And then the Shaykh, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he goes on into Ad-Dars Al-Thani, the second lesson, which deals with the Arkan of Islam. It deals with the Arkan, the pillars of Al-Islam. بإذن الله تعالى نتوقف هنا فنكتفي بهذا القدر، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، وجزاكم الله خيرا.